Okay, good evening, everybody. I'd like to call to order the November 15th Plan and Zoning Board of Appeals meeting at 7:01. Jen, would you please call the roll?
Chairman Dash.
Here.
Commissioner Kempa.
Here.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Here.
Commissioner Tamman.
Here.
Commissioner Patel. Commissioner Mellon.
Here.
Commissioner Saywert. Here. We have a quorum.
Thank you. Okay, the first item of business this evening is consideration of the October 25th PZBA meeting minutes. Are there any comments, changes, or corrections to the minutes as presented? Okay, since there's no changes, do I have a motion to approve the October 25th PZBA minutes as presented?
So moved.
I'll second it.
Jen, roll call, please.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Tamman.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel is absent. Commissioner Mellon.
Abstain.
Commissioner Saywert.
Aye.
And Chairman Dash.
Abstain. Okay. So before we start with old business, Dan, you wanted to make some remarks?
Hello,
Be in there
is that
then.
better? Patrick, do we have a left channel? Can you hear that now? Better? All right. This evening, before we get into our business, I need to make an announcement. Item number 2 under new business, the public hearing, ZBA case 18-17 for a PUD amendment and special use. This item is not require a, there we go. All right, does not require a public hearing. The existing PU ordinance does already account for sit-down restaurants. However, the applicant is here this evening. He will be making a little presentation to discuss his restaurant concept. However, because of the way the planned unit development ordinance is written, the restaurant could be built by right. The use of a hookah bar, which was advertised in this, does not meet the Illinois Clean Indoor Air Act and has been withdrawn and was withdrawn before this information about the ordinance already allowing sit-down restaurants. So that's not on the table. He's proposing to build a restaurant and meet all the state statutes and city codes. So because it is a part of the approved ordinance that's already on file, there is no need for a public hearing to allow that restaurant this evening. If anybody has a question and would like me to give them a call tomorrow or Monday, I'm off tomorrow, I'm not here tomorrow, I'm out of the office, I would be more than happy to sit down and show them the ordinance. We have copies of the ordinance here if anybody would like to take a look at that shows where sit-down restaurants are an approved use on Lot 2 of the Wildbrook Commons Shopping Center. So if you're here for that, there will be no public hearing this evening. Excuse me?
So I would say, why don't you stick around then, and you can hear the presentation from the applicant, I would say. But at this point, we're not going to be fielding any questions because it's not going to be a public hearing.
There was, when the ordinance was first reviewed, under Lot 2, it was not clear when we went through it about restaurant sit-down. It was in the ordinance, but it was buried under sit-down and restaurants, and it wasn't clear. So we went through the requirement like we would do any other restaurant in any other shopping center that does not have a PUD, and it was determined at that time when they applied that it would need a public hearing. However, subsequently, it was determined and found that the ordinance already allowed it, so there's not a necessity to have a public hearing because it's already approved. So the ordinances and the notices were mailed out to meet all the requirements because at the time they applied, we didn't believe that it was an approved use. Okay? Excuse me? I understand that, but the lot 3, the vacant lot, it's clearly stated in the ordinance that lot 3 is a restaurant pad. Okay? It's the lot 2 is where this is being proposed to go in the Lucy's Garage, vacant Lucy's Garage space. And so therefore, it was determined that, we didn't see it as part of an approved use in lot 2. However, it is by the existing ordinance, so therefore no public hearing is required.
So it's not gonna be built on the empty lot?
No, and that was, we all assumed when we looked at the ordinances that lot 3 was the only place, so that's why the public hearing to amend the PUD was sent out. However, subsequently, it's not required, so therefore there's not going to be a public hearing tonight.
But they are going to present this evening, so if you want to stick around and listen to what the there's no application anymore, but what the business owners are suggesting, then you can certainly do that.
So you can find,
Will that also get into details like their hours and what?
you can ask, we'll have a spot for question and answer at that point in time, okay? Thank you very much for your patience and understanding.
Okay, so then we're going to start with old business. PZBA public hearing case number ZBA 18-14SU. And the applicant is Mr. George Sellis at 1 East Camp McDonald Road in Prospect Heights. And the applicant is requesting a special use permit for a 3,600 square foot sit-down restaurant in a B1 retail business district per section 5-7-2C of the City of Prospect Heights zoning code. So we're going to go ahead and reopen, please, the public hearing. So I would need a motion to reopen the public hearing on application number ZBA 18-14SU.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second it.
Let's go ahead and do a voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so if you're here this evening to testify or present in regards to this application, I'm going to have you stand up, and we'll do the swearing in all at the same time. So do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so then when you do come up to present, you're just going to need to give us your name and address for the record. Okay, so Director Peterson, if you could get us up to speed on what's transpired.
Last month, the applicant requested, after discussion, a continuance of the public hearing to submit a new floor plan because some concerns were raised by the ZBA about the various use areas within the facility. The applicant, Mr. Sellis, did submit a new floor plan subsequent to the request of the PZBA. It is in your packet as exhibit number 11. At that point, we're here to discuss this floor plan, and it's up to the PZBA to continue the public hearing.
Okay, so,
Just getting spread out.
yeah, okay. Okay, so if you'd like to come up, Mr. Sellis, and provide us with some information, that'd be great.
George Sellis, address is 4007 Miller Drive, Columbia, Illinois.
Thank you.
So I revised the floor plan from the last meeting to be more specific of what was going on in the back with the kids' room and the conference room. And if there's any questions to answer, or if you have any questions on the room, I don't know. That, it seems it's more detailed from what I left you guys the last time.
Great, thank you.
Does this floor plan need to be sealed and approved by PE, or is this just a sketch?
This appears just to be a sketch. If this case is approved, the applicant will be required to submit full architectural drawings for the interior build-out and all the M&Es.
Okay.
So is there anyone here this evening that came to speak to this case? Anyone from the audience? Okay, so if there's no one from the audience this evening, then if there's any other questions from the commissioners?
I just have one question regarding the room to the, let's see, east it would be, it's labeled a games room. Is that where you're proposing to put the video gaming?
Correct.
If you get it?
And that's why it will be completely separate and cut off. So, because the opposite side has for the kids' room, so there'll be no access. The only access from that room will be for the conference room for adults. Because that will be a sealed off room. Of course, if we don't have a party, it'll be sealed, it'll be closed off. So it'll be easy access in any way for that room.
Okay, thank you.
For your kitchen and storage room?
Well, the kitchen, it's gonna be a soup and pizza, so the kitchen in the back would be, I can make it more itemized for you. That'll be our storage and kitchen. We're only gonna have 7 to 8 soups a day and an unlimited pizza bar.
Is that a cooking kitchen right there, that
It'll be, yes, sir.
8 foot wide?
You know, this was more of a sketch. He didn't get too far into it. But on the drawings, we'll go up to every code that needs to be. We have more room than we need there.
Okay.
It'll be a full operational kitchen, you know, with the sinks, everything, stoves, hoods. We'll definitely have everything they'll need to prepare for the food,
You've obviously done this before.
once or twice.
Great. Okay, any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, then if there's no other discussion, I'm going to ask please for a motion to close the public hearing on application number ZBA 18-14SU.
So moved.
I'll second it.
A voice vote, please. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead. Any other comments amongst the commissioners then? Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and ask for a motion, please, to receive into the public record the staff review of compliance of this application with the zoning standards as presented by staff this evening, and to make these standards a part of the official record for the application.
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Voice vote, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And then, being that this exhibit was already in our packets, I'm assuming we don't need to include this as additional evidence?
That is correct.
Okay. Okay, then I'm going to request, please, a motion to recommend that the city council approve the description of the request this evening, which is for a special use permit for a 3,600 square foot sit-down restaurant in a B1 retail business district per section 5-7-2C of the City of Prospect Heights zoning code.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Jen, would you please call roll?
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Tamman.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Commissioner Sayward.
Aye.
And Chairman Dash.
Aye. Okay, so,
George, this will be up before city council on Monday, December 10th, because I cannot get your ordinance done by next Monday night. All right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move on to new business. Our first case is PZBA public hearing number ZBA 18-16SU, and the applicant is Everclean Car Wash, represented by David Shun, or Shun? Shun. And the address is 1320 North Rand Road, Arlington Heights, Illinois, 60004. As I say, and the applicant is requesting a special use permit for an automobile car wash in the B3 General Services Zoning District per section 5-7-5C of the City of Prospect Heights zoning code. And I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing on, please, a motion for opening the public hearing on application number ZBA 18-16SU.
So move.
Second.
Voice vote, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay. So if you're here this evening to testify or provide feedback on this case, I'll swear everybody in at the same time. So you can, so anyone presenting or who's here to comment? So do you swear that the testimony you'll be giving this evening will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, thank you. Director Peterson, your comments, please?
This application is a application for new construction of a new car wash facility immediately to the south of Village Cycle Sport. The owner of Village Cycle Sport has subdivided his lot and has put that portion up for sale. The lot in question is in our B3 General Services Zoning District, and car washes and vehicle laundries and detail facilities are an approved special use in that district. Before us is Everclean with a proposal to build a new car wash on that location.
Great. Okay, so if the applicant would like to come forward, please.
Just to clarify, I'm not the applicant. David is back there, but I'm a colleague, and I'll be presenting, if that's okay.
Perfect. If you just state your name and address for the record, please.
Thomas Kim, 623 Meadow Court, Elk Grove Village.
Thank you, Thomas. Okay.
Thank you for your time this evening. Someone much wiser than me once said, a picture is worth 1,000 words, but a video is worth 1,000 pictures. So if you would like, rather than me just diving in and talking about who we are, we have a video prepared that might show you a little bit of our look and feel, what we do, so you'll have that picture in mind as we talk. Would that be okay?
That would be great.
Great, thank you. Patrick?
When I first saw Everwash, it didn't look like a car wash. It's very personal. We're a small team and we're all growing together. I have more control over my job. I feel like sometimes it's not a job.
First of all, you have somebody guiding you in there. They spray the bug thing on your windshield or the front of the car. And then they also have somebody in the back end with a brush where they wipe down the back end that might be a little hard for the brushes to get to.
When we designed the car wash, we started with the obvious and got the best equipment and technology that's out there. And if we thought it could be better, we developed our own. And then we took that same approach to soaps and chemicals until we had the highest quality wash for every type of car.
One great thing about Everwash is our core values. One of them is to bring a positive spirit to the team. I feel like everybody that is a part of this team embodies those values, and that's what makes us different, not only as a company, but as individuals as well.
I love Everwash because of the fact that they do a great job. You got great people working there, enthusiastic people. They're always greeting their customers. You never leave there unsatisfied.
The typical car wash is pretty much a box with an office without much extra thought. Everwash core value number 8 is challenge everything with innovation. So we counted every step an employee will take from A to B to Z, and then we asked ourselves, how do we cut that down? And then how do we cut down even more? In the end, we came up with a design that allows a single employee complete visibility and control over the entire wash. All this is for the customer experience. Maximizing efficiency equates to more time, which allows for a more meaningful interaction. We believe that this is the perfect blend of both automation and human touch.
We have a culture of mentorship here at Everwash. To have a mentor is something that's special. I feel like every week I learn something. They've put me on a path to become a better leader, a better manager, and just a better person in general. You know, I'm learning from my mentors as well as my employees at the same time, which means that we're all growing together, and that's how we're going to reach even higher heights.
My house is directly behind the Everwash. I was worried about loud music or people sitting out there. From the day one that I met them at the Village Hall meeting when they first proposed to put their plans in to open up the car wash here, they were very courteous, they were very upfront and rightful with me because everything that they told me that they have done so far. Good neighbors is people that care about you, that every time I go there, they ask me how I am, how I'm getting along. A lot of times they'll be back there watering the trees or something and they'll see me out there and they'll stop and come and converse with me, asking me if I need anything. These are the type of things that I call good neighbors, people that are not worried about you but care for you. When they see you, they genuinely care for you.
So that's our site in Lake in the Hills. We also have a site in Bartlett. And our first location was in St. Charles, where we received the 2016 Civic Image Award, which is atypical for a car wash, I think. And I'm here to answer any questions you might have. I would just mention as a side note, Director Peterson first brought this property to my attention probably two and a half years ago. And at the time, we weren't ready to take this project on. But with some time, particularly because of the layout of the site wasn't our typical layout. But as we've worked out some different site layouts, this property seemed to match the site that we're currently building in Hanover Park. It's a very similar footprint, and we thought we would then take a look at this site again. So it's one that's been very familiar to us, and we're excited to be here.
Thank you, Thomas. So again, is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak to this case? Okay, so Thomas, we're going to take the public
Great.
testimony now, so
Great.
you can have a seat, and we'll
Sure.
call this gentleman up. Yes, he did? Okay.
No. He did,
Oh, okay.
he did not stand up.
Okay. So will the testimony that you're giving this evening be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes,
Okay, and if you could just please give us your name and address for the record, please?
sure. I'm David Merrigan, and we're with McGill Management. I'm the vice president, and we're literally 100 feet away from this property that he's proposing this car wash.
Okay, and your address, David?
It's 1314 North Rand Road.
Great, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my concerns are, our building faces that lot. We've been there for over 30 years, and the first concern would be noise. We conduct a business of community management service, and being that we would be less than 100 feet away, we're concerned about noise in our building. Secondly, traffic impact. It's a very difficult area to get in and out of, and this just will create more traffic in and out. So those are our primary concerns right off the bat,
Noise and traffic.
noise and traffic.
Okay,
How do we determine what that would be?
great. Okay, so anything else to add?
Well, that would be the two primary ones.
Okay, thank you. We'll be certain to discuss those.
What are your hours of operation, you guys?
We're 9 to 5,
Monday through Friday?
Monday through Friday. But we are very close to the proposed site, less than 100 feet. So that's a concern.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, commissioners, comments or questions for Mr. Kim?
Can you come back up? What will your hours of operation be?
We are from 7 a.m. to 9 p.m., and then we close at 5 p.m. on Sundays.
Okay, and what are your busiest times typically?
Saturday, February or March, you get that one day right after it snowed and the ground is salty and then the sun comes out. That's the busiest day.
On a typical week though, not just usually?
It'll tend to be Saturdays, but a lot of it is weather dependent. And would you like me to respond to?
Certainly.
Okay.
If you have information to add.
Absolutely, yeah. So first, pleasure to meet you. And I think, if I understand correctly, I think your property is to the south part of the property behind the liquor store, right? Yeah. So the layout, which I'm not sure if you may have not been able to see. First off, when we design our sites, we're very sensitive to residents around, because if we're going to be there operating business, these are our neighbors, and we want to make sure everyone's happy, not just our customers. So, and that's why George in the video actually, said those things about us, because he came to the public hearing. When we laid out the site, we were very cognizant. So I'll kind of angle it like this. So if this is Rand Road here. There's a resident here, I believe you're here, and then the liquor store is over here. So usually the two biggest concerns with our site has to do with sound and then light. So addressing sound, the two noisiest areas typically on a car wash come from your vacuum and then from your blowers, because both of those have motors that are generating sound. We do a few things to address that. The first is all of our vacuum producers, they're centralized, so they're not just out there on every vacuum stall that it's just turning on outside. We centralize it into a single producer. The second thing we do is we put a silencer on it. And then the third thing we do is put it in an enclosure. The vacuum producer, we have two of them, and they're about 200 feet from the property line, from the back of the property line. So they'll be out towards the closer to the street. The blowers that are at the exit of the tunnel, we intentionally on our sites, we orient the building so that that area faces the street. We don't have that facing the residents or neighboring properties, because it'd be fairly loud. So those are the two things that we do to address the sound. The other thing I'd mention is every one of our sites, we're building along streets that are fairly busy, high traffic count roads. Rand Road has 30,000 vehicles per day. And with that kind of traffic, you're seeing decibel levels of 110, up to 110 decibels. And all of our equipment is below that sound. So the other thing I'd say is with a vacant lot and traffic passing like that, some residents even notice that the sound, especially in the evenings, goes down because now you've got a building blocking the road. So on the areas of sound, that's what we do to address that. We have neighbors that are where their property line is less than 30 feet from our property line, and all of them have been fine with our efforts, and we have great relationships with all of them.
Where is that building in relation to the bike shop?
So if the bike shop is right here, we're over here.
So are you set back from the bike shop?
Yes, we'll be set back. So this building, this outline, is just about in the center of the lot this way, but it's pushed back towards the back property line.
So you would be right in front of our offices then?
We'll be in front of your offices. The loudest areas are on the other side, away from your offices. In fact, if we were turned the other way and that entrance was facing this way, even though our building is not in front of your offices, you would have way more noise. So all the noise is going to be out this direction towards the street.
Thomas?
Yes.
Could you please explain how the traffic orientation coming into your site will
Yes.
work? And that may also address some of the traffic, the vehicle noise.
Absolutely. So, and I apologize, I'm pointing on this smaller drawing here. So, when we try to identify the driveway and where to locate this, this site was quite a challenge to lay it out. We didn't want to be so close to this curb cut into the liquor store and McGill Management, because that could create problems, ingress, egress problems. So we moved it to the center of the site to push it sufficiently away from the curb cut to the south. And then what we did was we created 3 lanes so that anyone who's trying to turn left wouldn't, or I'm sorry, turn right wouldn't be held up by someone who's trying to turn left. We also made sure that we would have sufficient stacking out of the site so that cars, like right here, we have about half of our site that's available for stacking both directions. If you're looking here and you turn right into the site, usually backup onto a major road would occur because we don't have sufficient stacking into our site. At this site, we would have the most stacking we've ever had on any site because you have 3 lanes, and then on top of that, you've got about a 200-foot lead up to the pay lanes. So as far as traffic concern, I don't see a backup happening due to lack of stacking on our site.
And the access lanes are on the side between you and the bike shop, correct? But coming into your site, when they come into the
That's
bike
right.
lanes,
That's right.
they would be on the north side of your building,
Yes.
not the south side.
Yes, exactly.
That south side lane is just a bypass in case somebody needs to get out of line.
Yeah, this is an escape lane, which is required more for a fire truck to come in and out.
We can only hope you have a stacking problem.
What's your peak volume, hourly volume?
Yeah, so I did a study on a February. I took 4 Saturdays from our Saturday last year. On those 4, the average between the 4 was 444 cars. The highest was 535, lowest was 353. The average was 444.
Is that information in our packet then?
There was a table in the
Yeah,
packet submittal. I believe it's in Exhibit 1. I believe it's, or excuse me, Exhibit 2, the last page. There's a chart.
And what you'll see in the traffic, just to point out, is, so that's over the day, but obviously the day fluctuates. So we have an hour-by-hour count on that busiest day. And what you'll see is the peak cars washed was from 3 to 4 p.m., and we had 85 cars come through. In general, our car wash doesn't see the peaks and valleys that other car washes see. So a lot of car washes, what you have is it's snowing, it's closed, the sunny day, they're open and they're completely backed up. The reason is our car wash, 80% of our volume comes from memberships. So people have an RFID tag on their car. It works just like iPass. You pull in, it reads their tag, the gates go up, and they're in and out. What that does for us is if you're a member and you have unlimited washes, you don't try to time it with the weather. So in fact, on the busiest days, our members don't come because they want to avoid it. And if it's raining, today we were open. It's snowing, we're open. So what we see is that our slowest days are not as slow as the average car wash, but it also means on the busiest days we're not as busy. So it really levels our cars.
What's your typical cycle time for a vehicle coming in and out, just a
3
standard
minutes.
car wash?
Are you on a well? Is that site on?
We'll drill a well there.
Are there any of your other car washes on wells?
No, this will be our first one.
So how do you and this is, I don't know if this is pertaining to the site itself, but to maintain quality, water quality.
Yeah.
Like, let's say you have a well with high iron,
Yeah,
or a well that has high volume of something.
yes.
That's not gonna pertain to a good, clean car.
Yeah.
Do you guys test the water? What do you guys do?
Yeah, so in our car wash, we have 5 different kinds of water, and we actually recycle the water that comes off the cars. We recycle that on areas of the car wash, like the wheels or the underbody. So if we can recycle the old water, we can use well water, and we have a lot of different treatment processes to go through that.
Do you do like a water test and then determine a?
Yeah, we'll measure
filters.
water hardness, we measure pH levels, we measure TDS, and we measure all of it to make sure, so even if the volume of the water is sufficient at a shallow depth, we'll drill deeper if we need a higher quality water.
Okay.
So this has been very informative.
Okay.
I will say, your package was well put together. You provided us with a lot of information. I've said this before when we've had other business applicants on Route 12. You're the exact guy we want on Route 12. I mean, it drives traffic. You'll have great visibility on that road. The surrounding uses are all very compatible. I mean, there's a car dealership on one side, you know, there's the new storage facility there, Target across the street. So, I mean, these are the kind of businesses that we want in town. This is a great location for you. I feel that the site works well. Your site plan is great. Obviously, a lot of thought has gone into this. In regards to traffic, we would expect that on Route 12. Again, all the retailers are hoping for traffic on Route 12. I know that your curb cut will have to be approved by IDOT because they jurisdict Route 12.
That's right.
So I have no concerns in regards to where it's located or how it's going to function. IDOT will certainly chime in on that if there's any concerns. They will let you know.
They've already seen this plan.
Right? So, you know, from a noise standpoint, I feel that you've certainly answered the questions very thoughtfully, and your design is very thoughtful in regards to your neighbors. Again, there's other businesses along that corridor that certainly have people coming and going, that generate noise, and doors going up and down and closing and all those things. So, thank you for answering those questions this evening.
For the commissioner's information, this has been reviewed by City Engineer Perez, and he's been in contact with the applicant's engineers, and it will meet and has meet all the standards so far, and preliminary and final engineering forthcoming.
I do have a comment on the traffic. I've dealt with another project like this, and typically traffic this is not a destination, this is it's a convenience point. Traffic doesn't necessarily increase on Rand Road because it's not gonna go from 30,000 cars to 40,000 cars. It's those 30,000 cars you're gonna get your business from. So you're taking from that traffic and is feeding in and out of that traffic. The traffic count won't go up, I don't think. It'll stay the same. It'll just be directed in and out, and sometimes that actually helps at points, but I don't think traffic will actually get worse because you have a car wash. You're picking up from the exact traffic that's there right now, from my experience.
And do we have another car wash in town?
We have one on Wolf Road that's a self-service car wash, and that's about it.
Is that on city water or well?
That's on Illinois American Water.
That is on city water. I remember Sensational, that was on Elmhurst and Hints Road a long time ago.
That predates me.
Okay.
I would love to get my car washed in Prospect Heights, so.
Wonderful. We'd love to wash.
Can you comment on status of permit with IDOT? Are you in for application already, or?
On application, we did a preliminary review. One of the curb cuts, our positioning of this curb cut was based on their feedbacks. At first, we were on the north side of the property, and then we were on the south side, and then they were happy with us being in the middle. It's not a formal approval, but with that feedback, we feel confident it's where it should be.
And they're not asking for a left turn lane or
No.
anything like that?
Thomas, could you just briefly, even though it's not part of the special use process, explain your membership program? Because to me, this is a newer concept.
Yeah.
I think one other facility, to my knowledge, has it, but.
Yeah. So with our wash, what we're trying to do is just address that cars are mostly dirty and only sometimes clean, and we want cars to be mostly clean and only sometimes dirty. The way for us is we have these unlimited membership programs So it works just like Netflix. You have a subscription, you can watch all you want, you can wash all you want. You get this tag on your car, you sign up, and you pull in. Members have a dedicated exclusive use to Everwash Lane. So you can-
VIP.
Yes, VIP lane, busiest days, right? You just drive right through, the gate goes up, and then, it's like the fast pass at Great America, right? So, and then you have unlimited use. If you wash today, it rains tomorrow, you come back in and wash it again. Some of our members come in every day. Some because they just like us, but others because they drive an Uber and they want to keep it clean all the time. So that's the bulk of our business. We do have single washes, but most of our people find the best value is Everwash.
I have a question. As far as on the west elevation, you have residential behind. How are you going to take care of that as far as lights at night, as far as the car lights as they come around and turn? I know when we approved the Chase Bank on the corner of Euclid and 83, residents were real concerned about having the traffic going around to the ATMs.
Yeah.
And so a fence was installed for them.
Yeah. I can't remember. I'm going to direct this to Sug. On the plan, do we have a fence in there right now or no? If we're allowed to build a fence, we will. I mean, that's absolutely something we do not want shining in their home. I'll take a closer look at it, at that property, as long as we're allowed to, and we do not want our customers' lights shining into that home. 100%.
What time do you guys close again? You said 7?
9 o'clock. We actually close at 8, but then with the cleanup, the lights are on for another hour. And then all of the lights are on a photocell and a timer, so they shut off at night, and it should be dark on site.
Except for some security lights, I'm assuming, or?
Yes, we have heavy surveillance. We might have some just very nominal site lighting, but nothing that will disturb a neighbor. In fact, our west elevation signage, we have that backlit so that it doesn't emit light directly to a resident. So all you see is a glow in the background. Those are things we've done to be sensitive.
Okay, any other questions from the commissioners? Okay, and there's no one else this evening who wants to speak to this case, because we're going to be closing the public hearing. Do you want to come back up, sir? Yeah, if you could come up, please. Thank you.
On this particular property, the whole back floods. So, are there going to be corrections made to that? I imagine there's going to be quite a bit of water coming from this car wash. It all drains to the back to one corner, and it floods all year long.
There is currently a restrictor on the drain in that back lot that will have to be adjusted as part of their site engineering, and our city engineer has already been in discussions with that, so it'll be an improved condition.
Okay. And then the only other thing I would say is, if any of you folks ever tried to pull out and go northwest in rush hour 3 to 5, or even 9 to 10, try and pull out of that place, you got to close your eyes and gun it and hope you're lucky. And so adding any kind of impact traffic to that area is dangerous. That's all I got.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no other testimony this evening from the audience, and no further discussion from the commissioners, I would like, please, a motion to close the public hearing on application number ZBA 18-16SU.
So moved.
Second.
Voice vote, those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, then I'd like a motion, please, to receive into the public record the staff review of compliance of this application with the zoning standards as presented by staff this evening, and to make these standards a part of the official record for the application. Motion.
So move.
I'll second.
Voice vote, please. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, and there's no additional items this evening to put into evidence. Dan, anything else before I ask for a motion?
Nope.
Okay, so then I'd like a motion, please, to recommend that the city council approve the description of the request, which is a special use permit for an automobile car wash in the B3 General Services zoning district per section 5-7-5C of the City of Prospect Heights zoning code.
So moved.
I'll second.
Okay, Jen, if you could please call roll or vote, please.
Commissioner Kempa.
Aye.
Commissioner DeGraff.
Aye.
Commissioner Tamman.
Aye.
Commissioner Patel.
Aye.
Commissioner Mellon.
Aye.
Commissioner Sayward.
Aye.
And Chairman Dash.
Aye. So Dan will let you know here what we're,
I believe, we're looking at the December 10th to have the ordinances written. So it'll be on Monday, December 10th, here at 6:30 PM. Sug, I will give you a call on Monday regarding establishing a meeting. All right?
great,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Okay, so there's no other new business, but we're gonna go ahead now and hear from Adrian. Adrian, okay, in regards to the property at 816 North Elmhurst Road in Prospect Heights.
This will just be an informal discussion about what his project is. This is not a public hearing. If you have a question, you can answer it, but this is just an open discussion. So, gentlemen, if you'd like to come up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Aaron Lancero, and this is my business partner. And we're looking forward to the opportunity of opening up a Minter Restaurant and Social Lounge at
816 North Road, Prospect Heights.
yeah, it's a full-service restaurant that's going to be open from Tuesday through Sunday. Tuesday through Friday will be a dinner only, and then Saturday and Sunday will be open for brunch all the way up to dinner as well. As far as the cuisine is concerned, it's going to be American cuisine with a little hint of Eastern European flair, all right? And then I know there was a question in regards to what is a social lounge. Most restaurants have a bar and lounge, and obviously we just add the term social as most people who go to a lounge socialize. As far as design is concerned, we have a designer that has designed an array of different restaurants. And the idea is to bring some sophistication into the dining area, but then a lot of it is going to be banquet seating, lower tables as far as what lounge aspect or lounge dining is concerned. Obviously a full-service bar as well that will be servicing both, again, brunch and dinner, and also providing for special events. As far as a little history about us in general, myself, currently I'm a restaurateur. I have 6 restaurants in the United States and 10 in Southeast Asia. I moved here in the year of 2000. I've lived in the United States for 18 years, originally from a small island called Guam. And all my restaurants are full-service restaurants. The closest one to the neighborhood is E&O Food and Drink right here in Mount Prospect, but I've been there for 6 years. I have a sports restaurant also in the River North area. I have 2 restaurants in the state of Ohio, in the city of Cincinnati, and then I also have an ice cream shop in New York. All right. I employ over 250 employees, and I spend most of my time in the neighborhood, and have had the pleasure of having long conversations with Mr. Peterson and looking forward to be part of the community.
My name is Andrian Gaina again. Originally, I'm from Republic of Moldova, city named Chisinau, where I received my education as an engineer in construction at Technical University of Moldova. I moved here in 2014, and I go in workforce immediately as a truck driver. I received my CDL, commercial driver license. In 2015, I had the opportunity to own and operate my own truck, but always my dream was to own and operate my own restaurant. And in 2017, I was lucky to meet Mr. Aaron Lancero. He's a great businessman and a great person. And together with his experience and our knowledges, we think we can do big difference in the community we are. And with the Minta restaurant, I think it's a good start.
Thank you. So yeah, any questions from the audience this evening?
Right now, we're looking at anywhere between, I think it's 99 people or less, right?
Correct. The square footage is 3,000 square feet is the space they're proposing to occupy.
And the parking will be set based upon the capacity?
The parking was determined when the PUD was originally passed, and we did a parking analysis, and currently, for Lot 2, they're short a few spaces. However, because that mall has a shared parking easement with Lot 1, they can use any of the parking spaces in the lot. Additionally, the owner, before we knew this didn't have to go to public hearing, has agreed to land bank parking on Lot 3. So if there is a need for parking, he would construct an additional lot to accommodate the extra parking. However, it's not required to right now because this use as a sit-down restaurant was already pre-approved when they established the original planned unit development back in 1992.
If I understand correctly, I heard that this is only open for dinner during the week,
For the weekdays.
and then on Saturday or Sunday, brunch and dinner,
Correct.
and special events.
Correct.
And that, with most of the businesses in the mall, most of those are daytime businesses, so there should not be too much of an overlap.
So if I understand this correctly, this is an existing building you're going to modify?
Correct, there's the 816 building is the building that has the cleaners and the vacant Lucy's Garage. They're proposing to go into the vacant space on the south end.
So our hours of operation is till midnight.
Till midnight, okay. Thanks for coming with it.
Yes.
Is there gonna be music?
Obviously, with restaurants, there's usually music inside, but no live entertainment, if that's what you're asking.
Okay.
So if there are any other questions you come, oh, okay, go ahead.
One of my problems with restaurants are sewers.
Okay.
Where will what kind typically will the sewer be from this restaurant? Where will it run, and how will it get to the 42-inch main on Capital?
It's already installed.
The sewers are already installed, and they were designed for the variety of uses. I believe, I'm not 100% sure. I'd have to check the atlas. I believe it comes out the front and it runs.
No, it runs down the back. It runs down the back. Yes, it runs down the back of the property and then turns, I believe it's a 10-inch. I believe, don't quote me on that, but I believe it's a 10-inch.
Oh, yeah, it's a 10-inch. And that's why I get worried about it with the restaurants.
Well, all restaurants, as far as by code, have to have a grease trap, so there will be a 3-compartment trap, and then the city will be on them as far as for maintenance on a regular basis.
At one time, it was gonna be a 25, 10, 25, I think it was. So a larger than 10, and then neck down there and overdrive.
That was during Old Town, and I was just the inspector for Old Town, so I didn't design it. But as of right now, it's at.
It worries me having a restaurant hooked up to it at 10-inch main, because that main goes west down Andover Drive, picks up a T about where Elm Street comes in, picks up more residential districts to the north.
And then goes underneath Palatine Road.
It goes underneath the creek, goes to the other side, and it doesn't go to 12 inches, and it for about a block or so down, and eventually goes to 18 and then 24 and then dumps into the 42-inch main.
So this is what I would suggest. Obviously the infrastructure's already built, it's already in the ground, and I'm sure Dan has as-built of what's out there. So if there are questions in regards to the infrastructure that's there, I would encourage you to reach out to Dan and he can show you the plans in regards to what's out there. But I'm not assuming, I know that when this property was designed and engineered, all that was taken into consideration in regards to the size of the sewer and water. So,
But
Right,
10-inch,
so-
10-inch
right.
service is plenty adequate for a size of restaurant. I built over 100 restaurants. 6 inches would satisfy a restaurant of this size. 10 inches for just this retail center is plenty. You will not have any issues in terms of load.
You don't have much problem, but the restaurant is what I worry about.
which is gonna be located in the strip mall. So, right, so I would encourage you to field, or direct your questions to Dan, he can show you the plans, and if, Dan, there's something that is brought to your attention that may require additional investigation, I'm sure you'll engage the city engineer to,
Correct.
to look into that.
And
Absolutely, okay.
One other question. So you said there's the possibility if the parking gets to be an issue, that they could, go into that empty lot area, is that, did I
Correct.
understand that right? So how, do we just sort of go with the plan and then
We-
see if there's an issue, especially like Saturdays?
It's
There-
called,
There's a lot of people with the cleaners and the nail place and
the concept is called land banking, and it's done regularly in these types of sites. What we do is we monitor traffic, we monitor activity at the center, we see if there's any police conflicts, and we look at all that information. And if it becomes an issue, then the landowner has agreed that he would build the site. However, right now, based on our analysis of the occupant load, the users, the time of the users, and the hours of operation, there should not be a conflict at this time. So why force someone to build an expense that's not necessary? It's.
And I would have to assume too, these are going to be tenants of the strip mall, they'll have a lease agreement, and if there aren't spaces for people to park, their business will clearly suffer. So I'm assuming that the owner of the strip mall at that point would step in to help their tenants be successful. I'm sure the last thing they want is for them to take their business somewhere else because there's not enough parking, so.
Understood.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's fair.
Understood. So at this point, because it's not a public hearing, no action will be taken on this issue. This was more informative for you folks. If you have any questions, we do here at City Hall have a copy of their business proposal and plan. If you'd like to stop in and take a look, we can make that available to you.
Can I answer your question, by the way, sometime in February next year?
Okay,
All right?
okay.
Thank you folks
Yeah,
for
thanks,
sticking around.
thanks for coming this evening and providing your feedback. Okay, so any communications this evening?
Yes, one communication that in your packet was the schedule. It hasn't been formally presented to the council yet, but it's our schedule for 2019.
Dan, I just have a comment
Those
on
are
that.
corrections.
There's a couple corrections that I think if you're talking about Thursdays.
Yeah, we've already taken care of those.
Okay, thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you, Janet.
So-
Okay. All right, so,
Thank you. Hey, Aaron, I'll call you Monday. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
okay, then I guess I might find my script, but I don't need a script to adjourn the meeting. I'd like a motion, please, to adjourn the PZBA meeting held this evening on November 15th, 2018. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Oh.